So I'm just going to talk a bit about the Tailings Research Working Group and how we came about, and then go into a little bit of our gaps. I won't be able to go into the gaps in detail because you'll see a lot of them. I'll let you read them, and if you have any questions after, we can always discuss after, or you can always email me. Our objective of our group is to fill the gap between research and development. How we came about is that we started in summer of 2012. I introduced the concept of a research working group to the Tailings EPA members. In the fall of 2012, we got permission to start up the research working group. And in 2013, in January, our first meeting was held, and that's how we started off on our trip. So we are in our infancy, but we are making strides towards a fully functional group. So our informal mandate is to further research fundamental science of oil sand tailings. So no developmental work is going to be done by us. We want to have a balanced approach to tailings research by having university chairs, CRDs, the COSIA aqueous tailings projects. We are, obviously, some of you may know, we've gone out for request for proposals just lately, and many of you have replied, so thank you. And then we also have the opportunity to do JIPs also within the group. And so what that means is any of our companies can come forward with an idea, and we can ask if anybody else is interested in joining us, and then we'll go forward with the project. The nice thing about that, not only is it sharing funds, but it also lets all of us know what's happening within our companies, which has been to date a little bit more difficult to share, just from time, lack of time and things like that we just haven't been able to be as organized. So now we're going to try and be organized. So our first order of business was to establish our tailings research gaps. So each company established their gaps individually, and then we had a meeting to pool them. And the gaps were sorted and prioritized. We consider this a living document. So because we know that we probably didn't get all of the gaps in one sitting, and we will eventually resolve some of the gaps. So, we'll be revising it quite often throughout our lifetime. We also realized that some of the gaps we identified were just areas that we just didn't know enough about. So there's probably information out there on these gaps already. I'm not saying that we've done an exhaustive search. We anticipate that we might be able to use some of our students through some of our programs, hopefully with Ward, to get some master students delving into what's out there and helping us close the gaps. So we have 4 main theme areas: analytical, environmental, geotechnical, and process. Within each one, and I'll go into them in a little bit of detail, we identified some key areas that we have challenges in. So in analytical, there was no huge bolded information that we need, and I'll go through that. But for the environmental, we've really found gaps in the chemical area. From geotechnical, there was quite a lot. Lab prediction techniques, consolidation, dewatering, effective flocculation, drying, those were all areas that we're really interested in. From a process standpoint, understanding the bitumen effect on tailings, ore composition, clays, flocculation, rheology, enhanced fines capture, all areas that we're looking for more information. And remember, like, we've heard some of the information during these sessions, but we're looking for the fundamental science. We're trying to understand what's underneath all of the information that we've been getting in the last few days. So for the analytical side, we see a gap in some of the analytical methods that are out there with tools for field performance measurements, online instruments, and even lab-based techniques for a variety of different things, but all related to trying to get a good handle of the measure of clays, of our characteristics, even of our performance. And so, so that's what we're getting at there. For environmental, a lot of our discussion on this was related to froth treatment tailings. There's quite a few gaps on that side. And also, now that we're talking about a lot more polymer addition techniques, we're really wondering what the fate of polymers and tailings management is. And so over long term, what happens to those polymers as they dry, as they don't in the tailings facility. In geotechnical and process, we had a lot of gaps. And I mean, there's pages of them. And I had to really tone them down a lot and squish them onto the slides. So I'm not going to go into these in detail. Some of the ones that were very interesting for us were the long-term densification and consolidation prediction of performance, improved permeability of flocculating tailings, clays and other minerals and their impact on consolidation. So all of those areas are of interest. We've heard a lot about the drying aspects and whether it assists or retards consolidation, even as we have different types of chemical amendments added. And so that's another area that we're interested in. As we go into the process side, a lot of our gaps are related to polymers, polymer particle interaction in the presence of bitumen, synergies between cationic and anionic polymers. There's a lot of field data and test data on that, but one of the gaps is that we're really having trouble getting a benchtop experiment that works well for the cationic, anionic simulation. So, you know, there's a lot of things that we need to work on from that perspective as well. On this one, I would say that one of the key areas is rheology. Understanding rheology, and rheology in the thickener underflow, rheology within the pipe, the shear history, the deposition rheology, as it goes on to the beach. What is a good rheology coming out? You know, I don't think we have the really good understanding of that. We have a lot of field data, observational data on that, but we really want to get a good understanding from a more fundamental level of what are we really looking for. And beach fines capture, capturing our fines, that's really important for us. We're doing quite a bit of work within COSIA on this topic. But what's happening on a fundamental level when those fines are being captured into the sand? And what kind of chemical enhancements can we use to increase the amount of capture while still trying to keep a good, stable surface for potential beach dike makeup and stuff like that. So there's a lot to that we are interested in learning more about. And how do chemicals affect tailings flocculation, like the caustic that's added in extraction? Is there other types of minerals or chemicals that are added in extraction that could be causing tailings flocculation or even deposition type of problems, or it could be AIDS. So those are all areas that we're looking at. So from a reporting timeline point of view, we have frequent updates to the tailings EPA, almost monthly. I'm asked to attend the meeting, so that's good. We want to be, our group is a subset of the full Tailings EPA group, and so we want to make sure that we're open and transparent to our whole group. In 2014, we plan to have a Tailings Research Day to receive updates on the projects within the group's portfolio, and that will be for COSIA members, including the associate members as well. So we don't have an exact planned date for that yet, as we are just starting our projects for research. Might be towards the end of the year, but it's definitely something we want to do. So this is our timeline that we have been working on, and it may change. We identified our gaps in Q1. We prepared a request for proposals in Q2, Q3. It took us a little bit longer because we were running into our summer period where everyone was on vacation, so it took a little while to get out, so I'm sorry. A lot of people were complaining they didn't have enough time to do proposals. But I got quite a few, and I'm very thankful for all of them. We received our proposals and are going to be doing evaluation in Q4. In 2014, we're going to notify researchers in Q1, and then we'll be starting to prepare for the new RFP again. So we really don't have a whole lot of time. It's a busy schedule, so we may be modifying it in the end because we're very busy, but we want to make sure that we are doing enough research to advance and to be able to address our gaps. So I'd just like to thank my team who is helping me with this work. Many of them are here, and we have a lot of work to do in the next little while.